This news alert brought to you by Casarina All Sports Club. All your entertainment under one roof.
Good evening. If you missed out on snapping up a tourism voucher this morning, don't fret. City of Darwin approved to extend its own buy local scheme at last night's busy council meeting.
Since the lockdown, the staff at Cycle Zone have been run off their feet.
Things went through the roof and it's still insanely busy.
The store was one of many to adopt Council's My Darwin scheme, cashing in on 100 vouchers.
They were a little bit slow initially over the first few days, but definitely in the last few days, almost every customer was trying to use one.
The $300,000 of funding was hoped to last 4 weeks, but it was snapped up in 2, and from Friday, Council will release additional vouchers.
I proposed yesterday we put $75,000 a week for 2 weeks until the borders open.
The money funding the vouchers comes from parking fees, but Council waived those earlier in the year due to the pandemic, losing out on $1.5 million. But from today, inspectors will be back out on our streets and drivers will have to cough up again once more. While that news won't come swimmingly to the general public, clubs lapping lanes in City of Darwin pools are breathing a sigh of relief, with Council announcing swim fees won't rise this year, despite quietly moving to increase them by 25% last month.
We were looking at putting our swimmers' fees from close to $300 up to close to $600.
Clubs are now looking to hold workshops with Council to negotiate an appropriate increase for future years.
We're just asking to be treated like any of the other sports.
Ellie Conway, 9 News.
The Territory could host AFL matches as soon as round 8 if AFLNT has its way, as the National League works to reshape its season following the Victoria coronavirus outbreak. It's hoped the additional games could help the Territory secure its very own team.
As Victoria tackles a second wave of coronavirus cases, the Northern Territory is kicking around the idea of securing an AFL hub.
There's a number of teams who are putting themselves forward as happy to come to the Northern Territory.
AFLNT says matches could begin by round 8, with 2 teams likely to be based in Darwin and several others visiting on a rotational basis.
I'd think if you have the 2 teams, they'd be looking possibly for a 4-week stint. That would equal 8 games.
With no coronavirus cases in the Territory, it's hoped Southerners will make the trip up north to watch games in person. But just how many people will be able to watch here at TIO Stadium will be up to the Chief Health Officer.
Those COVID plans would look into what spectators, how many, what arrangements would be in place, and we'd work with the AFL and health authorities around that.
Essendon and Richmond are hoping to handball the Dreamtime game from Melbourne to Darwin. Meanwhile, AFLNT is consulting with Aboriginal health agencies to ensure the games won't pose a risk to Indigenous communities. Ainsley Kosh, 9 News.
The Territory's largest cycling event, the Top End Grand Fondo, will return this year with the event's COVID safety plan approved.
We've introduced a number of new events so that we can spread our starts out. We're going to be making sure that we've got additional hygiene in place. 6 distances will be on offer, as well as a virtual event for those people unable to travel north. Thank you for joining us. To stay up to date, follow 9 News Darwin on Facebook.